You are 17 years old. The sun is beating down on the cracked asphalt of a dirt road intersection on the outskirts of Culiacan. The air smells of diesel fumes, rotting garbage, and the metallic tang of dried blood. You have a cheap, cracked smartphone in your left hand and a cold bottle of Coca-Cola in your right. You are staring at a black Chevrolet Tahoe idling at the traffic light. You are calculating the weight of the vehicle. You are calculating the tint percentage of the windows. You are figuring out if the suspension is sitting 3 inches lower than factory standard, the exact metric that indicates armor plating. A drop of sweat stings your eye. You do not blink. You type 3 numbers into the cracked phone. You hit send. This is where your empire begins. Not in a gold-plated bathroom or counting millions on a mahogany desk. It begins on a plastic crate in 105-degree weather. It begins when you stop looking at vehicles as cars and start looking at them as risk vectors and tactical assets. You're squinting too much, a voice says to your right. It is your partner. He is sitting on an overturned bucket, kicking at the red dirt with worn-out sneakers. He doesn't look at the armored Tahoe. He just looks at a small, hand-woven rosary made of cheap blue nylon cord. His mother braided it for him. He rubs his thumb over the crude plastic crucifix. The gesture is constant. It grounds him. Just call it in and let it go, your partner murmurs, slipping the rosary back into the front pocket of his faded jeans. We do this for 6 more months. Just 6. Then I have enough to pay the coyote to get my little sister across the border to Arizona. Then we're done. We open a landscaping business. We mow lawns. We sleep safe. You nod, but in your head, the arithmetic has already started. 6 months? There is no done in this ecosystem. There is only the bottom of the food chain, where you sit on a plastic crate, and the top of the food chain, where you sit in the armored Tahoe. You perceive with terrifying clarity that the street corner is the absolute bottom, and the only mathematically acceptable trajectory is upward. Level 1. The Halcon, the Hawk. For the first 2 years, your existence is entirely logistical. You are the lowest rung of the ladder, an Halcon, a lookout. You wear oversized shirts and ride a battered moped, acting as the cartel's early warning system. Your world is reduced to walkie-talkie static, military frequencies, and memorizing license plates. You learn the operational rules of the street, the ratio of blinking. If a federal police officer is patrolling your sector and blinks more than 20 times a minute, his heart rate is elevated. He is planning a raid. You calculate the trajectory of their eye movements like plotting coordinates on a grid. Your partner is always with you on the same corners. He works the same shifts, but he does not adapt. He operates on emotion. When you see a local baker failing to pay his extortion fee to the enforcers, your partner turns his head. Sometimes, your partner even drops a few pesos in the baker's jar when nobody is looking. You observe this and record the data. Empathy is a structural liability. Empathy introduces unpredictable variables into a closed system. If the baker thinks he can rely on charity, the financial flow of the plaza is disrupted. The system degrades. It is a humid Tuesday. At 2 a.m., you and your partner are on watch outside a safe house in Tierra Blanca as a military convoy approaches. Your partner is supposed to signal the extraction team, but he stares at the rosary in the moonlight, lost in thought. He misses the transmission window. Unblinking, you grab the radio from his hands and transmit urgently. You transmit the warning codes in a flat, monotone voice. The safe house is evacuated 60 seconds before military breach. The next morning, your partner's eyes are bloodshot and haunted as he tells you, "You're changing," gripping the blue rosary. He grips the blue rosary tightly and says, "You don't even flinch when the sirens start. You look at those soldiers like they're just numbers on a screen." "Numbers don't bleed," you reply coldly, adjusting your clean collar. "People do. People die, your partner. They die because they get distracted thinking about Arizona." Your partner stiffens, setting the blue rosary on the dashboard for the first time, looking uncertain in the new sedan. The blue rosary sits alone on the dashboard of your newly assigned sedan, the first time your partner has let it go. You watch the cheap plastic cross vibrate as the engine idles, signaling the physiological disconnect. Level up. The Sicario. On your 21st birthday, you're promoted to Sicario. The organization recognizes your efficiency. Your tactical rifle replaces your old phone. You no longer watch the street. You're assigned to clear it. You enter the world of hitmen, weapon replacing your phone. Murder becomes your primary metric of productivity. Your initiation, first kill, takes place in a harsh, industrial concrete basement. Your initiation happens in a concrete basement full of bleach and copper. The regional commander sits while your partner waits outside. Your partner waits in the car, unchosen for the mission. For the first time, your stories diverge. They hand you a weapon, 9mm pistol, and point to a rival scout tied to a chair. You do not feel rage. You do not feel patriotism to the cartel. You simply calculate the recoil of the weapon, the center of mass of the target, and the ballistic trajectory required to ensure instant termination with minimal cleanup. You pull the trigger. The sound is deafening, bouncing off the concrete, but internally, it registers as nothing more than the switching of a binary code, from a 1 to a 0. From that moment, everything shifts. You are the algorithm. You begin wearing tactical vests and riding in the back of unmarked pickup trucks. The smell of the dirt roads is replaced by the smell of gun oil and cordite. You don't fight. You execute logistical operations. When a local drug market is encroached upon by a rival faction, you don't engage in passionate shootouts. You optimize the ambush. You calculate the exact angle of elevation from a nearby rooftop, factoring in wind resistance and the bullet drop of a 7.62mm round. You eliminate the variables. Your partner is assigned to your fire team. He is technically a Sicario now, but he holds a rifle like it burns his hands. When you raid a rival compound and push the enemies to the brink, your partner hesitates. You see him lower his weapon when a rival pleads for his life. You step forward, adjust your stance to mitigate recoil, register him as a damaged component in your tactical unit. You start distancing yourself. Just small behavioral shifts. You stop taking meals with him. When assigning perimeter defense, you station him at the rear, where the probabilities of engagement are statistically lowest. You are keeping him alive, but strictly as a liability management protocol. When does this end? Your partner asks you one evening, sitting in the back of the transport truck. The blue rosary is wrapped so tightly around his fist that his knuckles are white. "We have the money now. We have more than enough. I can get her across tomorrow. Come with me." The system doesn't have an exit protocol, you state mechanically, field stripping your rifle with blind precision. Any attempt to extract yourself from a moving mechanism results in amputation. Your partner looks at you with a horror that you find completely irrational. He is failing to grasp the mathematics of survival. Level 3. The El Jefe, the boss of bosses. You are 50 years old. You are the supreme capo. You no longer exist in the physical realm of the cartel. You live on a private compound in the mountains of Michoacan, surrounded by 4 layers of biometric security, anti-aircraft batteries, and 300 highly trained ex-Special Forces operatives. You haven't seen the streets of Culiacan in 20 years. You haven't seen an armored Tahoe. You haven't seen the red dirt. You are untouchable. You are the apex predator of the entire Western Hemisphere's narcotic ecosystem. Your net worth is entirely theoretical, estimated in the billions, buried in sovereign wealth funds and legitimate corporate conglomerates across Dubai, Singapore, and London. You sit in a sterile white room. It resembles an operating theater more than an office. There is no mahogany desk here. There are only screens, servers, data streams. You are reviewing the quarterly projections for synthetic fentanyl distribution across North America. The optimization algorithms suggest a slight adjustment in precursor chemical sourcing from Southeast Asia. You mentally approve the change. It will result in an estimated 4,000 additional overdose deaths in the Rust Belt of the United States, but it will increase profit margins by 1.8%. The calculation is instantaneous and devoid of any moral friction. The 4,000 deaths are merely collateral metrics on a scatter plot. The door to the sterile room chimes softly. Your chief of security steps inside. He is a perfectly calibrated automaton, much like you. "Sir," he says, his voice devoid of inflection. "We have an issue bringing this to me?" you ask, not looking away from the data streams. "Execute the protocol." "Sir, he requested to speak to you. He claims he has a connection." You pause. The concept of a connection is an anomaly. You like a ghost from 33 years ago. "Please," the boy screams, falling to his knees. "Please, El Jefe, I didn't cross the border to Arizona to see a specialist. Please." The boy reaches into his torn pocket with trembling, desperate hands. The guards immediately draw their weapons, calculating the threat vector. But the boy doesn't pull out a gun. He pulls out a small, hand-woven rosary made of cheap blue nylon cord. "My father made it," the boy sobs, holding the plastic cross up like a shield against the inevitable violence. "He died working for the plaza years ago. He was your old partner. He said you knew him. He said you were brothers once. Please, for my father." The guards look at you, waiting for the execution order. The silence in the white room is absolute, broken only by the hum of the servers and the ragged, desperate breathing of the boy on the floor. You look at the blue nylon rosary. According to every algorithm in your mind, the boy is a thief. According to the strict mathematical laws that govern the empire you built, theft must be met with absolute, fatal force to maintain systemic discipline. If you spare him, you introduce an unpredictable variable. You introduce weakness. You validate the concept of empathy, the very flaw that you painstakingly cut out of your own brain to survive. You look at the rosary. You look at the boy's terrified eyes. For the first time in 3 decades, the binary code falters. A calculation error occurs in the supercomputer of your mind. You feel an agonizing, phantom pain in your chest, a ghost of a human emotion trying to force its way through miles of scar tissue and sociopathic data processing. You stand up slowly. You walk over to the boy. You reach down and take the blue rosary from his shaking hands. The cheap plastic feels completely alien against your perfectly manicured, sterile skin. You look at the chief of security. His face is blank, waiting for the command. "Put him in a car," you say. Your voice sounds strange. It sounds hollow, as if the machine inside you is finally breaking down. "Drive him to the border. Pay for the medical specialist.